Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider. Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck. Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound, tap it in! 1.4 to go!
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field, back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
Welcome into Duck Insider. Happy you're with us in the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. Getting you ready, of course, for Oregon and Georgia on Saturday in about 10 minutes. The voice of Georgia football, the great Scott Howard, very nice guy, going to join us on the program to talk Dan Lanning, to preview the game, to talk about Georgia's new look defense this year. We're going to get to that in about 10 minutes, but I want to start here in Eugene. Two great events going on at the university tonight. We'll start with Oregon volleyball making their debut at home today. It's match day for Oregon volleyball after going 2-0 at the Rose City Showdown in Portland. The Ducks will host UC Davis on day one of the Oregon Invitational. First serve set for 6 p.m. at Matthew Knight Arena. Coming into this match, Oregon volleyball off a very big offensive weekend. In fact, Brooke Nunneveller was named Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week. Yesterday, though, Matt Ulmer said that she actually left that weekend a little bit disappointed in her play. Imagine how good you can be to be Offensive Player of the Week and still be disappointed. That's crazy. Mimi Collier was also named Pac-12 Freshman of the Week. Two reasons why you should go to Matthew Knight Arena at 6 p.m. If you can't make it there, though, the Oregon live stream will have it for you. You can also listen to the radio call on KWVA. Then at 7 p.m. at Pape Field, a battle of two big-time programs, Oregon and Texas, at 7 p.m. today. We'll have all sorts of soccer later in the show when we hear from Livy Moore and Chai Cortez and take you back to what happened between the Ducks and Longhorns in Austin last year. It was a pretty cool moment, so stay tuned for that. Outside of Oregon, tonight is also a big night because it is the official start of week one of college football. Loaded schedule tonight. Just absolutely loaded. I'll take you through some of the top 25 games first. Number 12, Oklahoma State, a 21.5 point favorite against Central Michigan. The Backyard Brawl at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Number 17, Pitt and West Virginia in a battle of former USC quarterbacks, Keaton Slovis for Pitt, JT Daniels for West Virginia. That's just how college football works these days. The first backyard brawl in 11 years. That is going to be an awesome football game. And then in Winston-Salem, Wake Forest is a 31.5 point favorite against VMI. I don't even know what VMI is. Scott, do you know what VMI is? Vermont Institute. I don't know. Mitchell Lee, I'll have to ask you during the break. Mitchell Lee definitely knows what VMI is, and I'm sorry to disappoint. One Pac-12 game tonight. Arizona State hosting Northern Arizona, two of the three Division I football teams in the state of Arizona duking it out. It's a new-look Arizona State team. Remember, Jaden Daniels transferred out, their longtime quarterback. He's starting for LSU now, so we're going to learn a lot about Arizona State tonight. By the way, I'm hearing from Mitchell Lee. VMI is Virginia Military Institute. Mitchell Lee, always good for information. By the way, Mitchell Lee back in the studio is the top bracketologist maybe in the country. He perennially beats out all the experts. So when we get to March, a million years from now, we'll have to get Mitchell Lee on for that. All right, well, so tonight's game, Arizona State, Northern Arizona in the Pac-12, is a game that we picked here on the Oregon Sports Network. Every Friday, we go through all of our Pac-12 picks. Jerry, Georgie, Joey, and Jordan, that's me, had to go for that fourth J. We picked all those games already. They're on their way to Atlanta right now. So we'll play just the pick for that game right now. We'll get to the rest tomorrow. Here is what we had to say about that game.
Okay, a little bit of inception. Jordan was just sitting here at this desk. He tossed to a segment that we're recording on a Tuesday. We have Pick'em that we're going to usually do on a Friday, but instead we're going to do one game on a Thursday. He's Mike Jorgensen. He's Jerry Allen. And then our celebrity picker, he's over here. We've gone full wide in the studio. Jordan Brenner's going to be the celebrity picker today. He is channeling his inner Alex Stimson. Are you a Dodgers fan today?
Sure, I could do whatever I got to do.
No.
I love the Inception reference.
Thank you.
Wonderfully done.
I should have had Scott get like a really big booming bass sound effect, Christopher Nolan movie style. That's what we were missing. It is our Sylvan Ridge Winery picks. If you're unfamiliar, we pick all the Pac-12 games every week. Usually, Jerry, Georgie, and I will do it. And we'll often have guest pickers. And since Jordan's been hosting the show for me, Jordan's going to be the guest picker today. If you are unfamiliar with the segment, this is your warning. Ibuprofen, acetaminophen,
and beer.
Or it's your Sylvan Ridge Winery picks. Your Sylvan Ridge Winery, proud to be Eugene, Oregon's first bonded winery with a heritage of hospitality. Sylvan Ridge Winery picks. We're back.
And here we go. Do a bottle of wine then.
That's right.
That's even better.
So I understand, though, that we have a bit of housekeeping because, Georgie, you paid out a championship pick for Jerry.
Partial, yeah.
Yeah. So I want everybody to know that Georgie
great.
has offered to send my wife and I food multiple times, especially since we had the baby, but I have
even
declined.
in the pandemic. I mean,
I know you were on it, but I've been waiting to do it in person, so we're gonna get there. Okay. So thank you. This is a man of honor, and I want everybody to know that.
No,
it's
called loser is what it's called.
We had a great dinner.
Wow. Last year's winner, Mr. Jerry Allen, was 69% correct on his picks. Georgie and I tied at 64%. The coin, 51% pick'em rate, and that included a lot of guest pickers. So we'll see if Jordan does any better than the coin. So we will not have a coin flip for Northern Arizona and Arizona State. That's the first game. It is Thursday night tonight if you're listening to Duck Insider on Thursday. 7 o'clock, Pac-12 Network, Northern Arizona, Arizona State. The way that it works is whoever won the previous week, or in this case the previous year, they have to pick first. Jerry Allen gets the first pick.
No, that is not the way it is. The winner doesn't. They have the right to defer, which I will.
No. Then you don't.
Then you don't get to defer tomorrow.
On the rest of the picks.
That's right. You get one deferral.
We're not doing.
Week.
This is very confusing.
One deferral on one game.
I'm following it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry to say.
Hey, look, I don't need you guys teaming up. So just
but you can take your deferral tonight
That's
if you
fine.
want.
Take it on Thursday's game.
That's
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
You trying to talk me out of it?
No, I want you to.
But you did. You talked me out of it.
Northern Arizona.
Oh, come on.
Arizona State.
Arizona State.
Okay. I think wait, I got to look.
Hey.
Technically speaking.
Yeah, I know. Here we go.
Don't discount what the Lumberjacks did in Tucson last year.
Technically speaking, I do have to pick next. Georgie got 2 wrong in the last week. I was perfect. Georgie actually gets to pick last this week.
I took chances the last week to try to get there.
You did. I am also going to take Arizona State, back the pack. And then because the coin performed better than Georgie in the last week of last year, our guest picker, Jordan Brenner.
Yeah, I'll back the pack back to back.
Hey!
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
That's clever.
I don't think Arizona State's going to be all that good this year, but they should be able to take care of business.
Georgie?
Yeah, the post-Jaden Daniels era will be interesting, won't it?
will.
It just seems like that guy's been there forever and ever and ever, kind of like Britton Covey at Utah. It just seems like Daniels had been at Arizona State forever, but I don't think the Lumberjacks can pull off an upset again this year like they did against Arizona last year. So I'm taking the Sun Devils as well.
All right, there's your picks. Sylvan Ridge Winery picks. We are back with the rest of the Pac-12 tomorrow. For now, Inception back up to the next level of the dream, Jordan Brenner.
Here I am. Thank you, Joey. All sorts of dreams today. 8-5 last year for Arizona State. I think they're probably my leading contender to fall off the most in the Pac-12 this year without Jaden Daniels. Remember, this was a team that beat UCLA handily, 42-23 last year. That's a serious win that the Sun Devils had. We'll see just how good they are. We'll see how much they struggle with Northern Arizona tonight. You heard Georgie reference it. Northern Arizona beat Arizona last year. Let's see if they can pull off a Pac-12 upset for a second consecutive season. Last night, Jerry, Joey, and Dan Lanning were in this studio for the Coaches Show. Just a reminder, every Coaches Show will be Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Here was my favorite clip from the show, Dan Lanning, talking about how the university is taking advantage of sports science. I thought we'd replay it.
You're ready for this first game. I mean, is there any more? I mean, at this point, you've got to be ready. And so a lot of people have talked about what's Kirby Smart, it's Dan Lanning, it's really the players, and it's execution.
Absolutely, yeah. And you know, we have a saying for our team, the hay's never in the barn until the ball's kicked. So we're certainly still preparing. We're looking for opportunities to improve and get better, but you know, we got to let our players go out there and play. And I said it the other day, I'm not playing. Kirby's not playing. Right, I'd feel better about our chances if that was the case, you know. But no, I'm just kidding. I feel really good about our team. I feel great about our guys. They've prepared so hard. But I'm not playing this game. Kirby's not playing this game. These guys are gonna go play in this game, and they are prepared and ready to go, and excited to see what they do.
You were talking earlier today about how this is also kind of a recovery time too, you know.
Yeah.
So what's your philosophy? What's your approach heading into game one on how you balance that you want to work really hard, but you don't want to overwork players? You know, how do you approach that?
Yeah, it's a fine line. You know, I really rely a lot on our sports science team here. You know, we actually just finished a little lift in the weight room a second ago, and we kind of check our power numbers there to kind of see where we're at and establish. And talking to Coach Love, we actually have a really good base. We're back to some of our numbers that we were at before we even entered fall camp when it comes to power and explosion. So that's a huge positive, you know, for us to be able to map it out and kind of plan it. You lay it out in July and say, I hope this is kind of how it trends, and for us to hit some of those numbers right before, you know, game one is pretty exciting.
That was Dan Lanning on the Coaches Show. I thought that was really cool. You know, a lot of talk goes into the Oregon Ducks being a state-of-the-art, forward-thinking program. That applies both in the attire Oregon wears and, well, how they approach the game in terms of sports science. And Dan Lanning, one of the things that stands out to me about the head coach of the Ducks, willing to take in that information from a whole lot of sources. That being said, Oregon is still glitzy glamour with their uniforms, which they released, and we'll go to here if you're watching with us live in the 1 o'clock hour. Some beautiful all-green uniforms, the green tops, the green pants, the yellow accents, green helmets, yellow wings. That is smoking. That's the right word. Yeah, that's great. That's what Oregon will be wearing when they take the field Saturday at 12:30 against Georgia. All right, Scott Howard, the voice of the Georgia Bulldogs, one of the great broadcasters in the business, was lucky enough to talk to him here for Duck Insider. We'll have that interview after this break. You're listening to the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
guys. It's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Coming to you live here from the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider, brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. Scott and I were just debating whether Georgia's uniforms are red or orange. They have always been red. The uniforms look orange. So you can weigh in. Go find them on Twitter and let us know in the comments whether you think it's red or orange. Meanwhile, Scott Howard talked to me, I think it was yesterday, previewing the Oregon-Georgia game on Saturday. That's a guy who just called a national championship. Certainly somebody to look up to if you're a young broadcaster. Also a resource if you're just a fan of football. This guy knows a lot about what's coming on Saturday, and he joined us to give us some insight. And here's that interview right now. Joined by the voice of Georgia football, Scott Howard, joining Duck Insider here, getting you ready for the opening kickoff between the Ducks and the Bulldogs. Scott, thanks so much for doing this, taking time out of your busy schedule. How are things in the land of Georgia these days? I imagine they're pretty good.
Yeah, things are good. National championship cures a lot of ills, I guess, and especially when you've been working for one for 41 years. So Georgia finally got one of those, and it's been a good 8-9 months ramping up to another season, and all is well in the Bulldog Nation.
Fantastic. Well, it's a tradition here on this program. Whenever we have a new guest on, we like to ask their 2-minute life stories. I am going to put you on the spot here. Try and get as close to 2 minutes as you can. But, maybe throw in an update from the past year, because I imagine that's high on the resume for your career, calling a national championship.
Yeah, that would have to be. This is my 30th year working with the Bulldog Sports Network. I started in 1993. I've been in radio the whole time of my working career. Let's see what else we got.
Where are you from? How'd you get into the business?
Yeah, well, I'm from Georgia. I've lived in Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida, and I went to the University of Georgia and graduated with a journalism degree in 1984, and that's kind of how it started. I worked in college radio when I was at UGA, and finally got a job after graduating from college. It took a little while to find something that would pay a living wage in radio back in the mid 80s. But I finally found something that I could pay my bills with and live on. And it just kind of went from there. And, I always knew I wanted to be a DJ when I was a kid. I always wanted to be a disc jockey, just very fascinated with radio and always loved it and listened to, radio constantly. And have a love for sports, of course, and all of that just kind of meshed after college. And sometimes right place, right time, and talking to the right person at the right time. And here we are, 30 years later, or a little bit more than that, actually. But my time at Georgia has been great, and I worked with the legendary voice of the Bulldogs, Larry Munson, for about 15 years. I was the color analyst, stat man. Larry didn't really need a color guy. He painted the whole picture by himself, and he was terrific. So that was great fun for 15 years. And then when he retired, I was fortunate enough to be pushed into the play-by-play seat for football. And I've been doing basketball already for about probably about 15 years prior to that. So I've been doing basketball play-by-play for 28 years, and in football, this will be my 15th or 16th year working with Eric Zier on the broadcast.
You know, it's pretty special. You've been there for a large amount of that 41-year drought. You, more than almost anybody, probably knows what that means for the entire community, that relief, that elation that comes with a national championship. Take me through your experience calling that game. What were some of the emotions going through your head and through the community's head during that win against Alabama?
Well, it was a bit unusual. Unfortunately, I was ill that game. I was ill that whole day, and kind of leading up, I felt a sickness coming on, and we surrounded the championship game. We had basketball on the prior Saturday against Kentucky and Lexington, and then we were in Indianapolis for the championship game on Monday of that week, and then the following Wednesday, 2 days later after football, I had to be in Starkville, Mississippi for Georgia Mississippi State basketball. So my engineer and I, we drove the whole trip, and that, I don't know if that kind of encouraged my illness or what, but we made the long loop from Georgia to Kentucky to Indiana, back to Mississippi, and back to Georgia, and all of that together. It was, I was just not feeling well the day of the championship game, but I was bound and determined I wasn't going to miss it. And there were really, I didn't really feel any nerves or anything. To me, it was just kind of it was another ball game. We'd faced Alabama a lot, obviously. We'd faced them just earlier in the SEC championship game that season, and we've seen them in the regular season and in championship games over time the last few years. So it was just another Georgia-Alabama matchup to me, in a different location with certainly a lot more on the line. But as the game was going along, it was tight. We get into the fourth quarter, and it's Alabama has the lead. I think it was like 18-13. And then with about 10 minutes to go, after Georgia had that alleged fumble go against them by Stetson Bennett, the Bulldogs were pretty much unstoppable after that last 10 minutes of the game. The offense scored, I believe, every time they had the ball, and then we added that defensive touchdown with Keely Ringo's interception return for a score to seal it. And then, the celebration was on at that point.
That's right.
And you weren't going to stop the Georgia fans from crying. I mean, people were crying in the seats. We were emotional in the booth. I worked with Eric Zier, who's a former Georgia quarterback from 91 to 94. He played in the NFL, and when they showed Stetson Bennett on the sidelines, just breaking up and tears falling down his face and all that emotion, I mean, it kind of got up to the radio booth as well, because we're all Georgia guys, and it'd been a long time coming.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I was about to talk about that emotion. Jerry Allen here at Oregon, Duck fans are really lucky. He's been calling football games since 1987. And one of the things that makes Jerry so special, when Oregon went to the national championship, one of his famous calls, you could hear that crack in his voice. He got emotional. And I heard that from you in your final call. I'm wondering how many times that has happened to you in your career. Did you expect to feel that emotion in the booth when you were calling that national championship, a moment that broadcasters dream of their entire career?
Yeah, I don't think you can anticipate what's going to happen. You just kind of live in the moment. And when Ringo scored the touchdown on the interception, and there was less than a minute to go, you knew Georgia was going to win the game. And then that's when that realization finally sets in, and it just, it's like this huge feeling that just runs from top to bottom. As a sports fan, as somebody who works in the industry, and as an alum of the university that just won the title, and all of that mixed together, it put a little frog in my throat a little bit. And but I didn't want to start crying on the air. Just try to get through it with the illness and the excitement of the moment and the emotion. I mean, it it was a great way to finish the broadcast. But I don't know that you can anticipate something like that. You just have to ride with it and do the best you can, in describing what's going on for your audience.
Scott Howard, longtime voice of the Georgia Bulldogs. He'll be on the call for the Bulldog Sports Network later this weekend, but you should be listening to the Oregon Sports Network. Anyway, cool to talk to a guy like that. We get into the nitty-gritty, the actual matchup between the Ducks and the Bulldogs with Scott Howard after this break. Keep on listening. It's Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Now's the time to visit your local Toyota dealer and find yourself in a stylish and fuel-saving RAV4, Corolla, or Camry. Or climb behind the wheel of the rugged Tundra, Tacoma, and more. Toyota's national sales event is on. Toyota, let's go places.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Now's the time to visit your local Toyota dealer and find yourself in a stylish and fuel-saving RAV4, Corolla, or Camry. Or climb behind the wheel of the rugged Tundra, Tacoma, and more. Toyota's national sales event is on. Toyota, let's go places.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Ready for our little forest adventure?
Yes! So much waiting for me. Yeah, I wanna go outside. I wanna be.
We're here.
Whoa, that was fast.
There's a forest closer than you think. Find a park or forest near you and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by USDA Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Duck Insider brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union and the Country Financial Studio. Here's part two with the voice of the Georgia Bulldogs, Scott Howard. We're joined by the voice of Georgia football, Scott Howard, here on Duck Insider. Shifting focus to the game coming up on Saturday, obviously the big storyline from Oregon's perspective is, well, Dan Lanning is the new head coach. He comes from Georgia as their former defensive coordinator. I'm wondering what some of your memories of Coach Lanning are and what some of your takeaways were from his tenure as Georgia's top defensive play caller.
Well, last year's defense was pretty darn good. And it was put together not only by Dan, but by a multitude of people. He's a terrific recruiter. That goes a long way into getting the right players at your school and then developing those players, knowing what you want to get out of them, knowing what they're capable of. And here, the emphasis on recruiting is so huge, led by Kirby Smart, who's always done that in his career. So if you're an assistant coach on the Georgia staff, that's got to be a strength. You've got to be able to identify the right guys to fit this program. And Georgia had done a great job of that building up to last year. We have all called it a generational defense. I don't know that we'll ever see a defensive performance like that by a Georgia team or any team for a long, long time. It was marvelous how they dominated opponents from just about start to finish. So you had all the right players in the right places, and they were developed. They were coached up, and as evidenced by the fact that 5 of those defensive guys went in the first round of the NFL draft, and 15 players overall from Georgia back in April. So they got the right guys on staff. And Dan was, he's an energetic guy. He's a young guy. That helps with that exuberance when you're youthful, and you're not very, you're not too separated from the age of the players, really. So you can kind of share that experience, but he's very good with the X's and O's, and he seems to be pretty at ease. Really, I wouldn't see him as, some coaches, or you would describe him as a tyrant or some sort of a dictatorial behavior, but I don't see that from Dan. I see him as the old cliche. He's a player's coach, and I think he'll have great success there at Oregon.
As far as one of the things Dan Lanning was asked a whole lot in his press conference is the advantages schematically. And I think it's really interesting. Such a unique game in that Georgia has a member of its staff in Brian McClendon. That was the passing game coordinator here at Oregon last year. Oregon has Dan Lanning, which coached Georgia's defense last year. Dan Lanning said that he doesn't really feel like there's a schematic advantage either way. Both teams probably have advantages. What's your take on that? Is there an advantage one side or the other because of, maybe that familiarity with trade secrets from either club?
That aspect of it is probably even. There are some unknowns on both sides, obviously, and we're kind of dealing with that this week as we try to prepare for the game. Just trying to get a grasp on who actually is going to play in the game and who's going to sit this one out. But I don't think hey, we know more about them or they know more about Georgia. I don't know that really plays into this as much. Certainly the coaches play that aspect down when you ask them about that. They always play it down. It's not about that, it's about execution and executing the right plays that are called and the right personnel on the field and all of the stuff that you hear from coaches. But with Brian McClendon's situation, he was the interim coach for Oregon last year in the bowl game, and he was an interim coach for Georgia at a bowl game prior to Kirby Smart's hiring. So he's kind of come full circle. He's a Georgia guy and coached with Mark Richt when he was the head man here. And it's great to have Brian back. And he's another guy that's a terrific recruiter and very knowledgeable of this area as far as knowing which players to seek out. And, I don't know that there are many secrets between Georgia and Oregon, given, what we've just talked about here. But there are some unknowns that will probably rear their head on Saturday, and we'll all find out what those are together because we may not know them ahead of time.
Scott Howard, voice of Georgia football, nice enough to join us. Just a couple more questions I want to get to. You talk about those unknowns. Georgia only has 3 returning starters on the defensive side. What are the expectations for that group heading into this season?
Well, the expectations at Georgia are always to play good defense. I mean, that's the expectation, to do your job. Certainly, and Kirby's talked about this, it's not going to be at a first round NFL draft pick level. He knows that. I mean, when Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt and Trayvon Walker and Quay Walker and Lewis Seen are all starters on the defense and they're all gone in the first round, those are big holes to fill. But Georgia has recruited well. They have a good roster of players. It'll just be at probably a different level. I mean, I don't know that you're going to see this defense, hold teams to 10 points a game. I mean, that's not very realistic, I don't believe, which is what Georgia did last year and led the nation in scoring defense and second in rushing defense and all of those accolades. I don't think we'll see that out of this group this year, but it's a good group of players. It's a deep roster. Georgia always likes to play a lot of guys on defense, keep fresh bodies on the field, and that's the expectation. Do your job. You know how to do it. You're here for a reason, and just go out and play.
You know, it's interesting. Oregon hasn't announced who's going to play at quarterback, but one of the players in contention is Bo Nix, and you have seen Bo Nix. What have you taken away from watching Bo Nix play in person?
Playmaker, can be dangerous. Can also, make some bad decisions. We saw that at Auburn over the last 3 years, but he's dangerous with his legs. He's a great scrambler. He's pretty accurate with his passes and with his throws. If he has time to throw and pick his spots, I mean, that's going to be a problem for Georgia. You hear other people say, well, when you flush him out, that's when he makes the plays. But that's also, I've seen in some of our games that's when he can make some mistakes, when he's working, on the run. He can be dangerous in that aspect, but it also could be an advantage for the defense if they can force him into a bad decision. But he's a good quarterback, and Georgia's been to be able to be on the winning side of our matchups against his Auburn teams over the last 3 years, and they're hoping that one more time if he's the guy on Saturday.
Scott Howard called the national championship for Georgia after a 41-year drought last season, and he was nice enough to join us here on Duck Insider. One of the good guys in the business. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks very much. I enjoyed being with you, and I like all your stuff on your desk there.
Yeah, it's Oregon. We got to keep it stylish here, don't we?
It's good looking.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Scott Howard, the voice of the Georgia Bulldogs. Cool to talk to a guy like that, right? Somebody who's seen so many high-caliber football players, a resource to learn about Georgia as everybody gets ready for that football game, 12:30 on ABC. If you want to listen on the radio, 95.3 in Eugene, 1080 a.m. in Portland, Sirius 133, XM 197, play-by-play, Jerry Allen. Mike Jorgensen on color, Joey Mack on the sidelines. Terry Johns has you covered 2 hours ahead of kickoff, 10:30 a.m. for your pregame coverage. We're almost there. What else could I say? We're almost there, and we're all excited about it. All right, let's get a break and learn more about fracture care, part of our Slocum Center Minute. As a part of this third break of the show, we're coming back to the Country Financial Studio for Duck Insider after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to the Slocum Center Minute. Slocum Center physicians are located here in Eugene and are the orthopedic team physicians for your beloved Oregon Ducks. Joining us today is Dr. Denise Ruthier. Doc, we're talking bones today. What causes fractures?
So there are two main ways that athletes get fractured, either the result of a traumatic injury, either in contact sports or just a bad fall. The other way athletes can get a fracture is through a stress fracture, which is basically repetitive overuse to a bone. This happens most commonly in running, but really can occur in all kinds of athletics. Stress fractures usually occur in the foot, ankle, the shin bone, and the hip.
Stress fracture, an indication that the body's telling you to slow down a little bit?
Basically, yep. You haven't given your body time to recover from the insults you're putting on it.
What can athletes expect after being diagnosed with a fracture?
Well, the first step is to actually diagnose a fracture. Most traumatic fractures are pretty easy to diagnose with a plain x-ray. Stress fractures can be a little tricky to diagnose. Sometimes they'll show up on a plain x-ray, but other times we need to do some further advanced imaging with either an MRI, a CT scan, or a bone scan. Unfortunately, in athletics, any type of fracture requires some time off from sport. They need to be immobilized and rested to allow that bone to heal.
And that was the Slocum Center Minute, brought to you by Slocum Center for Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, orthopedic team physicians for University of Oregon Athletics since 1967.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon Athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Hey, Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at smokeybear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back here in the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Oregon soccer will be in action tonight at Pat Bay Field, hosting the Texas Longhorns at 7. A couple student athletes met with the media earlier this week to preview the contest. Let's start with Livy Moore.
So, Livy, 3 games into the season, just how are you evaluating those first 3?
I'm really excited from those games, and I think we're getting better with every match that we play and every training that we go to. We're always grinding just to be better and get better as a team.
A couple draws in. What are you guys really trying to grow in here? Where's the growth at?
I think we're going every practice, so every practice we have a new objective. We're learning new things, trying to cover up those mistakes and figure out why we made them and then fix those for future matches.
You in the midfield, how do you feel like you're fitting in with Zoe and the rest of the women?
I love those girls. I would love to work for them whenever I need to. I really like the way they play, and I'm learning a lot from them. So,
how do you feel like your role is defined? Where do you feel like you're most impactful as an aggressive midfielder, center mid, defensive mid? Where do you feel like you provide the most value?
I think I provide the most value when I'm amongst my teammates. So when I'm getting that support and when I'm communicating with them and when we're all working together, I think is when we're at our strongest.
You mentioned some of the mistakes you're trying to grow over. Could you name one of them for us, kind of elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, I think just finding that next pass within transition. So connecting that pass and passing with purpose. So every ball we play has a purpose, and then getting that ball into the back of the net.
You have played in a few pretty physical games to start out the season. Is that sort of the way you want to play, to exude that physicality, or would you rather shy away from it?
I would love to step up to the challenge. Every time there's a physical matchup, I'd love to step up. Of course, we are wanting to play that ball, and we're a very technical team, and we're moving towards that. So I think keeping it technical when we can, but not being afraid to step up to any challenges we face.
So close to leaving Washington with a win. What was the mentality of the team like after, and how's the team attitude overall going into this week?
I think we were disappointed. That was a game that we went into strong, and we knew that we had to go out there and battle for that win. And so coming out with a tie was disappointing, but like I said, we're always working for the next game and just trying to get better every day.
What have you seen from Graham? What have you taken from him in your little time here?
There's so much to take away. I think the one thing is just the relationships we build on and off the field are so impactful when we play.
Well, what defines success for you this season?
I think success is defined as a team. So us going out onto that field and having the objective of winning every game we go out there and battling for each other, that's when we find our success.
Against Texas and Boise State, what are you looking to see out of those matches from both yourself and the team?
I think we're just looking to go in there and win. Of course, that's the goal of every game we go into, but just to play as a team and find those passes and play our soccer.
How many friends and family were at the game?
We had 70 people, so yeah.
Was it good playing in front of your family and friends?
It's awesome. I wouldn't be here without them, so having their love and support there was so awesome.
That was Livy Moore pretty much reflecting on that matchup last weekend against Gonzaga. Now let's get to Chai Cortez as she gets you ready for tonight's matchup with Texas.
So, Chai, 3 games in, just how do you feel the season's going? Assess it for me.
Yeah, so it's definitely interesting. You know, we have a great group of young individuals that are hungry and eager to get on the field, and I think that it keeps us young and motivated in a way too. So they definitely stepped in and showed us a lot of great things on the field, so I'm excited to see the chemistry as we go forward throughout play.
You've been taking a lot of the set pieces. Can you talk me through your mindset when you're taking a corner kick specifically?
Yeah, I mean, we have great aerial presence. You know, we have Zoe Hasenauer, Ajane, Liv, Mata Gravante, Alicia Barbieri, and we're still trying to find more aerial presence there, but the only thing going through my head is get the ball on someone's head and get the ball in the back of the net. Just plain and simple like that.
True was able to score off of a free kick against San Francisco. You're also one of the women who takes those frees. So what are you thinking about when you take free kicks, and what do you think that she was thinking about from an opportunity that's just outside of the box like that?
Yeah, so we do a good job with seeing where the wall is lined up and seeing how the goalie's positioned, and usually we have a discuss before the ball is getting taken. So in that moment, True felt really confident. I was confident in her as well, and she got the job done at the end of the day, so I'm proud of her.
Late equalizer against Gonzaga. Where's room for growth for you guys? How could you have avoided it?
Oh, yeah, I mean, the equalizer was definitely hurt us, but in a way it gave us a lot of lessons learned, and today we did a good job with organizing our back line and organizing organize in the box and, you know, staying patient with things. And yeah, it was unfortunate, but we're hoping to not let that repeat again.
You've been pretty physical over the first few games, especially in that San Francisco match. You pride yourself on some of that physicality?
Yeah, I mean, being 5'2", I don't want to get pushed or shoved off the ball, and one thing that I pride myself on, and something that the team prides ourselves on, is that, like, we're willing to go toe-to-toe with anyone, and so I really take that mindset going into the games and going into the opponents with me. So I definitely do get some adrenaline doing it, but make sure it's not like in the box or anywhere that could hurt us.
What about this weekend against Texas? What's your mindset going in, and what do you want to show on Thursday?
Yeah, you know, Texas is a good team. We played them last year, and it was a big team effort to do it, and we're just trying to go in the same mindset that we did last year, staying patient, staying hungry, and to maximize our opportunities and our chances as best as we can.
For you, what defines success this season?
For me, it's all about growth, and if we keep building and growing upon the relationships and the chemistry on and off the field, then I feel that our play on the field will get better. So as long as we keep improving and not looking in the past and just keep moving forward is a big step for me and the team as well.
Chai Cortez getting you ready for tonight's matchup with the Longhorns, coming to you at 7 p.m. You can watch it on the Oregon live stream. The freshmen have been the story of the season so far. Of Oregon's 5 goals, 3 have been scored by the freshman Ajane Respass. Additionally, freshmen own 3 of Oregon's 5 total assists this year. Livy Moore has 2, Trinity Morales has 1. And if this matchup is anywhere close to as good as the matchup between these two squads last year, you'll be in for a treat. A reminder, last year Oregon beat Texas in dramatic fashion in the 87th minute, courtesy of this Zoe Hasenauer long ball.
It back. They've got about the same. It's basically a 5-on-5 here. Both teams taking turns. It's a long range at all. What a spectacular goal. Zoe Hasenauer has just tagged the ball with her left foot. And it's like a dagger to the heart here with under 3 minutes left here. The Oregon Ducks will take the lead.
One of the great wins of a fun season last year under Graham Abel. Really looking forward to this match tonight. If you're planning on going, there is a school supplies drive. The players put something together to get you prepared.
Hi, my name is Leah Freeman. My name is Ainsley. My name is Lexi Romero. And these are my back-to-school essentials that I keep in my backpack. First thing, in my backpack, this entire thing of Skinny Pop, that I do go through it within one class, very much essential.
When it's for nap time, I have my sweatshirt, my snack bag for when we're watching a movie in class.
The first thing in my backpack, my iPad, of course, for schoolwork. My deodorant. There is no air conditioning in these classrooms. You will smell if you don't have it. When I get hungry, my favorite snack, pretzels, Nutella.
I have my perfume and deodorant, because you always have to smell good.
I can sprinkle it on my popcorn. I can make it into a shake, but this entire thing of protein powder. It needs to be on me at all times. The gains never end.
And then I have 4 things of cherry juice.
Change of clothes. The most essential thing. My hairbrush and my hair straightener. Put it in there, just start doing it in class. You'll be chilling.
My AirPods and gum.
And the last thing that's in my backpack, of course, my ally.
If you bring school supplies to the match tonight, you'll be rewarded with a white rally towel. Let's get Pat Bayfield rocking tonight for that clash of 2 big programs, the Longhorns, the Ducks, at 7 p.m. Let's get a break. We'll come back and hopefully hear some audio from one of Oregon's offensive linemen. TJ Bass gets you ready for Saturday with Georgia after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
To your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
Back here on the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. TJ Bass last year was voted by the Pac-12 coaches as a first-team offensive lineman. This year, he's on the watch list in the preseason for the Outland Trophy, and the media met with him earlier this week. He gets you ready for the Ducks and Bulldogs this weekend.
Dan mentioned that he has a pregame playlist he likes to listen to. A, has he subjected to you that, and B, what do you think is on there?
I could not tell you. That's an unpredictable one too. I have no idea. I couldn't even think about it.
Do you have a pregame playlist?
I'll switch it up. Sometimes I'll listen to some rock, sometimes rap. Normally I'm a big country guy, but it doesn't really do it for me pregame, so it just changes up, you know.
Ryan just said that he feels like, sometimes maybe West Coast teams, West Coast players don't get the respect they deserve. Is that kind of the mentality in that offensive line group right now?
Yeah, for sure. Everybody that kind of looks at Oregon as a, glitz and glamour type place, but we say it sometimes, like, a lot of these guys, we didn't come to Oregon for Oregon, you know. It was just the place, and we don't fit the ideal, I guess, of what someone would be looking for if you're at Oregon.
How much do you guys, because obviously it was the group before you and before you were here, but how much do you guys kind of embrace that you're redefining that as a group, TJ? As what? Sorry. That you're redefining the finesse versus power aspect of O-line play here.
No, we love it. And with Coach Clem, it's even progressed even more, I think. So it's been pretty exciting.
And how so with Coach Clem? What do you mean by that? That's progressed more?
Just with certain techniques, and then like knockback techniques, our hands, gaining a lot more ground into the line of scrimmage, that type of stuff. Just physical in general.
When you have so much time to think about one game and this season opener against the reigning national champs, do you kind of reach a point where you're tired of the preparation? You kind of just want to get out there, or is it just a continuous process that you're okay with?
You try not to look at it like that, I guess. It's more of like how are we preparing ourselves, more of how are we preparing like for them a lot of times. Because it's a lot of times in games, especially the first weeks, a lot of teams beat themselves, turnovers, all that stuff, penalties. So really it's just about cleaning ourselves up, and then but also looking into that film too, you know.
That's TJ Bass, one of Oregon's 5 returning offensive linemen this year. I'm getting kind of sick of that narrative that Oregon's all about speed. No. You watch what the Ducks did in Columbus last year. They just mauled the Buckeyes at the line of scrimmage. TJ Bass was a big part of that. I think, to me, one of the strengths of this football team is going to be the offensive line. And all that experience going to be a huge key, as always. What the Ducks can do in the trenches, those guys are eager to get the job done on Saturday. One final reminder, 2 games tonight. Oregon soccer is in action, as is Oregon volleyball. Match day at Matthew Knight Arena. The first chance to see Oregon volleyball without your mask on in a long time. And the student athletes are looking forward to reconnecting to the fan base. Should be a fun one today. This is a talented team. Last year, volleyball defined by what they can do on defense. Look at what they brought in at setter. You look at what Brooke Nuneviller can do this season. That is going to be a high-flying and fun team. And then there you go, Texas, 7 o'clock at Pape Field. Both games available on your Pac-12 live streams. So maybe you go to one while watching the other. That's an option. If you have the cellular connection, do it. Another good show in the book. We're back tomorrow with our Pac-12 picks. We take you through all the games in the conference. That'll be here on Duck Insider. Thanks, everybody, and go Ducks.
This is an important message from the Mine Safety and Health Administration. Mining fatalities, accidents, and injuries are preventable. Taking a minute to approach your task safely can protect you and your fellow miners from injury and death. Staying alert and focused can keep you safe. Do it safe. Do it right. Whether buckling a seatbelt or securing equipment, these quick safety measures